you use the right tool for the right job, right? Just because we have all these things, these LED walls that can, generate Mandalorians and whatever, doesn't mean you have to use those, right? Like if a green screen is going to solve your problem, use the green screen.
It's time for Respect the Process, a short chat about commercial filmmaking. Here's your host, director Jordan Brady.
Well, thank you, Helen. It is February 4th, 2025. This episode is short but sweet. It's the exciting conclusion to my talk with editor turned Sawtooth founder, Chris Salters. You love part one. Kind of a cliffhanger. Here's the ending. Thanks again, Chris, for being on the show. Magic Mind, you want to use the code Brady20. The link is actually magicmind.com/Brady20. I tell you the benefits every week, but I want to point out a disclaimer. And this is the truth. It's not for morons. Like if you're an imbecile, if you're a stupid person, it's not going to make you smart. Helen, you have to be a doer like us. You have to want to get stuff done. You have to want to be in the zone. You enjoy flow state. Never mind the ingredients. It's the effect that you're after. But if you're a moron, it's not going to save you. So I just want to put that out there because I know I talk about it a lot. Boot camp is April 5th in Los Angeles. We have 5 spots left. And here's what the smartest thing that I've done in regards to boot camp was recently limiting the amount of people to 10 filmmakers. I've done as many as 25. That was once. That was too much for my bandwidth to handle. Even hopped up on Magic Mind. Juggling 25 filmmakers' agendas was tough. 15 was good, but 10 makes it so much easier because the whole seminar is custom tailored to the participants. So we do a one-on-one boarding call, you and I, when you sign up, and then I know exactly what you need to learn or what I think you need to learn. I'm not a soothsayer, right? I'm a B- empath and a C+ clairvoyant. No, that's true. I'm not even just saying that. But the onboarding call is where I learn and watch your work, and then the seminar gets deep because you're asking questions while I'm going through the planned curriculum. So it's a living, breathing course, as it were. And I'm going to talk about some AI tools. We use AI. Jake Brady will polish up the podcast with his special podcast wax, which now includes Adobe Podcast, especially if it's a pesky Zoom interview. And I've been using it in this documentary project that I'm putting the finishing touches on in ways that I will explain. I don't want to get into it now, but I have crafted phrases that bridge story points, let's say from A to C. Well, AI can help me with B. And I'll get into it at boot camp and probably on a podcast episode coming up. Last thing, the filmmaker retreat in Joshua Tree this fall is going to be crazy because I think Jeanette Godoy, my lovely wife, and I have really dialed that in as well. Limit 15 filmmakers, same onboarding call, a little deeper, but we're spending the day and night with each other in the desert, talking filmmaking, talking passion projects, talking what is our voice, what is our point of view as filmmakers. So it's open to directors, editors. That's where I met Chris. He came to the retreat 2 years ago. Producers, we've had colorists, we've had art directors, copywriters, creative directors. You're more than welcome to come. It's a blast. But DM me if you want to get on the phone and I can talk you out of it because it's a big investment in yourself and I want you to be certain that it's for you. I think by the time you're listening, maybe Michael, Patrick, Jann, and I already did our benefit seminar for the victims of these nasty fires. It is hosted on the Filmmakers Academy platform. There's a link in the show notes. It's $99. And the reason it's $99 is it'd be worth it to hear Michael Patrick Jann, who's made movies, commercials, directs a lot of television shows. He was a producing director on some shows. The Good Doctor, that's I think one of the more recent ones. But the point being, the $99 goes to the Red Cross LA. So he and I are doing this gratis. His special VIP guests are going to pop in and give their 2 cents. Thomas Lennon, who wrote the Night at the Museum movies, and the Filmmakers Academy donating their time and services. So it's going to be a quality production. And of course, it's all brought to you by Commercial Directing Film School. You can learn more at commercialdirectingfilmschool.com. The LED wall, which 5 years ago was coming, I've shot on them. I love them. I think it's fun. But it loads a lot of the prep on the front end and decisions to be made. And I've since had a couple opportunities where I chose green screen.
Have you?
Yeah.
What was the rationale? Because you wanted to change things in post?
Well, no, it was I didn't want to decide beforehand. Actually, I knew the footage, but I wanted wider shots. And specifically in November, I didn't want to have to build a floor or shoot around a floor, so that the expansiveness of the LED wall, of real life with green screen, it was a big ass green screen, allowed me to put in plate shots that I had already shot, but I could use the real ground and have cars. Like, you couldn't fit as many cars as I had on a soundstage. Part of me wanted to use AI. Like, but AI was unnecessary. I could just shoot it. But have you ever found limitations like that? Or do you think it's great? Like, what are your thoughts on the whole LED?
I think you use the right tool for the right job, right? Just because we have all these things, these LED walls that can, generate Mandalorians and whatever, doesn't mean you have to use those, right? Like, if a green screen is going to solve your problem, use the green screen. You just have to be aware of the limitations of what the green screen presents and like the challenges that it may have if you don't do it properly. Because I think what a lot of people do, especially in regards to green screens, is they think that, just because something's green back there, I'm going to be able to, one click and get it out. And if you don't know what you're doing and you're not lighting it correctly, it creates a mountain of problems in post. So I don't know if that's necessarily what you're asking, but I think having all of these options as tools available only make you stronger depending on what your final goal is. Like, it's just different paths to the same location.
Gotcha. No, I thought maybe you would say, I love the wall because it's one less thing we have to worry about in post. Or you could have said, I hate it because someone comes in and wants to change the background and it's baked in. Now we're roasting.
I'm indifferent to it because it's at that point, like, once the point that I'm brought in, like, I'm on the back half, right? Like, it's rare that somebody would be like, I wish we shot it, with purple sky. That doesn't happen a lot, at least in the projects that I'm on. And so at that point, it's neither here nor there.
Interesting. I love the technology of the wall, and I love the way the light interacts, and I love that even tonally, I did one a few years back where we had footage from Nebraska corn and married it with mid-ground Hollywood corn that was really sad and old. And then foreground were our actors. And we had them on apple boxes because we tried to put like fake dirt rags. Have you ever seen these rugs of dirt? And they were not convincing. They were terrible. So we just framed out their feet. It was a great shot. But tonally, but I was super communicative with the agency, saying some people are going to think we're really in Nebraska. Like, some people are going to, it's going to look that good. But the smarter people are going to get that there's a little magical realism, like that it's a set, but it's better than a high school play. Right? Like, to me, it was obvious that this is a bit.
But you and I have trained eyes in that, right? It's getting back to AI. I mean, you and I can look at a piece of AI video and probably know right off the bat, even if it's extremely convincing, that it just has this aesthetic to it. But Joe Schmo off the street, like people that aren't in this world, they'll just look at it and be like, okay, fine. I mean, they have no idea. It was interesting. My wife and I were talking the other day about ChatGPT, and she was in a church group where they were discussing something, and they asked, she mentioned doing something on ChatGPT, and it's obviously like 40 women that were in there. And I mean, I think she said only 6 of them in the group had ever heard of that. And I mean, even now, I mean, we're
Wow.
two years into ChatGPT being like a thing. And it's just mind blowing to think that just because we know about, like, we're so accustomed to this, that there's a whole chunk of the population that isn't in on this stuff. Like they're just not, in tune with it like we are. So you got to keep that in mind.
That's funny. I thought you were going to say they asked ChatGPT and it spit back the 14 commandments. In the late 50s, there was a character named Clutch Cargo.
Okay.
And Clutch Cargo was a cell animation character on some black and white TV show. And they matted in a person's mouth speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, at the time, it's like if you watch the original King Kong, that stop motion is like, oh my God, it's so realistic. And the other example I use a lot, Chris, is one of the early Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a rubber eraser in the swinging through Manhattan.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was like, this is mind-blowing.
Listen.
So Clutch Cargo, I think it was 57 or 58, that was amazing technology that a human mouth was married with animation.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that was a tool to communicate. And then you saw the same trick done in the early Conan O'Brien years when, like, Clinton was president or Bush, and this SNL writer, Robert Smigel, would do a lot of the characters, and it was just the lips, and they would purposely make it bad.
Yeah.
Right? So I did this thing over the holidays playing with AI for Morgan and Nick, because Morgan and Nick,
Mm-hmm.
they do previs on all their spots with Unreal Engine. They map it out. Oh, it's so detailed, and they're super talented, and they use that tool, which I maintain is a means to another means, whether it's a hand-drawn storyboard or previs. But I had myself talking to Joe Rogan. Have you seen this post? It's pretty fun.
I saw it come up. Yeah.
So in that one, I used 11 Labs, and I tricked 11 Labs because it flagged it as a celebrity voice when I sampled Joe Rogan. So I pitched it down so Joe Rogan talked like this. And then I trained a voice that spit out what I wanted to talk about Morgan, and then exported it and then sped it back up to the normal speed. So I hacked the 11 Labs, which, if AI is any good, they're scraping this podcast.
Man, they're going to be, they're knocking on your trailer door right now.
Oh my God, here they are. And then using AI, I forget which program, but I tried to get it to make the new Rogan voice into a still of Rogan, a screenshot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of programs that do that. You can make someone talk. But it was really bad. So it was like, rah. So I went back and put a circle wipe around his mouth and feathered in the AI Joe Rogan with the AI Joe Rogan voice and lip movement into the still shot.
Mm-hmm.
So if you really watch, his face is expressionless except for his mouth, which is Clutch Cargo from 1957. So the lesson is, use the tool, in this case for comedy. Like, it was better to have it subtle but bad to be more comedic. So use the tool for your end goal of whatever it is, getting laughs, like I told you at the beginning of the conversation, getting the woman to bridge one scene into a new event in the documentary. They're all just tools in our hands. Don't be afraid, filmmakers.
Absolutely. It's I think you have to, again, like I said, you've got to learn what's out there. Keep your eye on it too, because there's a bunch of grifters out there that just want to hop on the AI bandwagon. Pay attention to the real players. And I think 11 Labs is one of those. And there's no doubt that it can be used in nefarious ways. And I think that you have to lean on your, credibility and just being a good person, and use it responsibly.
Thank you. Yes, I will. And Adobe even asks you to tag something. And actually, when you do something on Firefly, Adobe's like text to image. I think it watermarks it.
It does. They've got some digital thing in there because I think if you like do something in Photoshop and then export it and then try to upload it on things, it'll be like, oh, this has been, altered in some way.
The onus on up and coming filmmakers, directors, editors, producers, production designers, especially, I think as AI gets, so we mitigate how it's going to work for us, I think we need to bone up on our art history and film history just to know how to prompt. Like the text prompt is going to go away. It's going to be, thought to image or
just like there's little chips they're going to put inside your brain.
Howdy, filmmakers. Jake Brady here, the editor of the pod, jumping in with a quick shout out to our new sponsor, spotschool.online. You'll find Jordan's commercial directing masterclass, how to pitch, his shadowing course, and more. Every online course at Spot School comes with a free one-on-one career call with my dad. It's your chance to talk shop with a pro who's been in the game for decades. And don't miss the 4th annual Filmmaker Retreat in Joshua Tree, happening Thursday, September 25th through Sunday, September 28th, 2025. This retreat is your chance to step away, find clarity as a filmmaker, and land better gigs. We're talking workshops on creativity, leadership, and production voodoo, all taught in a tight-knit group of 15 filmmakers. Tuition includes everything: catered meals, healthy snacks, adult beverages, workshops, your private room, and a trip into Joshua Tree National Park. Just get yourself there. So go over to spotschool.online or commercialdirectingfilmschool.com. It's the same thing. Shh, don't tell the Canadians. This is one experience you won't forget.
Chris, we got to wrap up. This has been great to chat with you, my friend. You've maybe heard the show. It's called Respect the Process. What does that phrase mean to you?
To me, respect the process, especially in regards to editing, means giving the editors, the post team, that extra time or the right amount of time to do the prep work. That little bit of prep work at the upfront of every project will save you or pay dividends down the road. So give the team the time to organize, let them go through and find those good takes, the ones that don't make it for whatever reason, and give them the opportunity to get the project set up and not just like jump in and start editing.
That's a great answer. Even transcribing and organizing your bins can save time down the road, because you as like myself coming in as a collaborator, I'm like, no, I think it was take 7. Like, even if I say take 7, if you had, this is nuts and bolts, respect the process. You can go, oh, that's in the bin of the funny outtakes.
100%. And not to, I know we got to get off, but not to go into too much detail.
Take your time.
But like a lot of what I do, especially in like the entertainment world, dealing with featurettes and things, there's a lot of footage that you're going through. Like if we go back to Pinocchio, like I said, there was 32 terabytes that we're doing there. And I'm actually, I'm working on Frankenstein for Guillermo del Toro through this year. So we're doing a new documentary for that. We have 27 terabytes worth of footage that we're digging through that's all been shot over the past year. And all of that needs to be logged and categorized, and taking that time to get that organized up front is going to be what makes getting a finished documentary even possible. Because like having to deal with the 127 shoot days that they have, you have to keep that in a organized workflow and organized system, and that becomes part of the process. And I think people, especially in the commercial world, overlook that. They're like, okay, we shot it today, I should have a commercial tomorrow.
Right.
And that's not the case. Like, you need to give the editor the time when it's possible to get organized first, and then they can dig in and give you that best possible result.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I'll bring up Susan Monroe again about her Stay Curious. How can you expect the best out of your editor if you've rushed them through? Like, I had 10 days to 3 weeks to prep a shoot. I had a week to write a treatment and think about how I'm going to pull this off. Shouldn't I give you at least 3 or 4 days?
Well, and obviously, like, the timelines and budgets,
Yeah.
they've all been shortened, right? We all know that. But when possible, I think agencies just need to understand that if they're giving that extra bit of time to their post team, that they're going to get a better result on the back end. Now, that's not to say, like, I love personally going and editing on set and like getting a cutout like the day of. Like, that's fun for me, just because it's different, right? I like to be on a set. Exactly. It's 100%. You're getting to do it live. And so there's a give and a take there, because yes, we got a cutout, but is it the best? Well, we're not sure, because we haven't gotten to explore as much as we wanted to. But it depends on what your end goal is.
There's a tipping point, because there could be too much time in post. I had a project last year that, because of the way it was shot, it was all inner thoughts of the characters.
Mm.
And my thing was, let's record a scratch track from the script that we can read. I'll do it with my podcast microphone. So on set, we know like how long shots have to last and looks and everything. Then after we get a rough cut with that, we'll bring in the actors. And it went great. Then they were like, but we could have them say this too. Like, yeah, you could, but at some point someone's got to say stop. And it went on for a long time. And I'm not even dissing the project for that. It was, like, I was done. I moved on to another thing, and they were still bringing the actors back. And I became friends with one of the actors on Instagram, and she would, post something like, oh, I did my 3rd round of, that's me with the thumb.
Yeah.
Instagramming. I did a 3rd round of voiceovers for this project. And I was like, oh, wow, you're still going.
Wow.
At a certain point, making decisions is, I think it's helpful. I will put links to some of your work with the podcast at jordanbrady.com. We can go to sawtooth.tv.
That's right.
Sawtoothpost.tv.
One and the same.
And what about, did you keep chrissalters.com?
Oh, yes. chrissalters.com is going nowhere. That's a great site. I got a lot of SEO invested in that.
Yeah, you got to keep that one. Your website is great. The Sawtooth website is very slick.
No, thank you. That was the goal. A lot of work went into that. So
did you do that? Did you make it?
Unfortunately, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's one of the things when you're bootstrapping a business, you got to get your fingers dirty, right? Get your hands dirty.
All my websites need an enema.
Oh, geez. That's a visual.
I'll leave you with that. Hey, have a great day. Thank you so much.
No, thank you, Jordan. I really appreciate it, man.
Talk to you later.
All right. Bye, buddy.
Bye. Wow, I enjoyed that chat with my buddy Chris Salters. Listeners, I do want to tell you, if you're an agency creative producer, creative director, check out TrueGent.tv and the fabulous directors on our roster, which includes yours truly, because without TrueGent, there's no podcast, there's none of this content that I put out. TrueGent is my production company. You can say we're a collection of storytellers and wax poetically, but basically, we're a production company. Our directors have a point of view, and we bring your great scripts to life.
Commercial Directing Film School's mission is to help filmmakers direct commercials professionally. With online courses and in-person boot camps, we demystify the process to get you to the next level, all taught by your accessible mentor, filmmaker Jordan Brady.
True Gentleman Industries. We make commercials.